News story that, frankly, not so funny. He was drawing attention to some anti-Semitic graffiti at a friend's house by using Twitter, and he got some action. While some felt this might have been a hate crime, the police report we obtained says it doesn't fall into that category. We're going to find out why from Jon himself. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So it's good to know that
Doc.
Yes, thank you. And that the Secret Service is now out looking for you.
Yeah.
Did they come and talk to you? Secret Service?
No.
Well, you made some threats against the president.
No, I didn't make any threat.
No?
No.
I thought you did.
No.
Oh, you called him a name.
Yes. Because he's lying.
About taxes.
He's saying that people in a certain tax bracket don't pay their fair share of taxes. It's not true. 47% of the country doesn't pay any taxes because they can't afford it and they have deductions.
Right.
So you have, in a certain, was it $250,000 or more, you have a 35% federal tax. Then in California, where I live, you have another 11%. That's 46%. You have property tax. You have city tax. You have FICA. You have sales tax.
So what I hear is you're a fat cat.
And then you have deductions.
You're a fat cat and you're complaining. What you're saying?
No, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about the taxes I pay. What I don't like is him saying that those people in that category who came from nothing and worked hard and made something of themselves are now, they're not paying their fair share of taxes, and it's like the 1% versus the 99%.
Got it.
And it's like a class warfare.
He's creating
a class warfare in a country where there is no class structure. Anybody can go from being broke to being wealthy, and all the friends that I have that are really way beyond me,
came from nothing.
Billionaires, came from nothing.
Yeah. And that's what's great about this country. Right.
And almost everybody who does, you ask, how did you succeed? They said, I didn't have anything. And I had to work really, really hard. And you have to sacrifice everything. Yeah. You have to have a regular job for 8 hours a day. Yeah. Then the other 8 hours, you're going to school, or you're, like me, you're pursuing acting, you're doing all these things. And I voted for Obama. I'm a Democrat. And I also said he's amazing, what he's achieved in his own life.
Yeah, yeah.
Which it is.
Yeah.
But then he's like saying, okay, and now, you know, to hell with people like me and everyone else. And he's just, to me, it's,
you voted for him.
It's so, yes,
yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And I was a fan of his. But to me, it's so obviously transparent that he's saying this to get votes from the masses.
Okay, hold on a second. Now, I want to switch gears and now go back to this Well, speaking of that, this anti-Semitic graffiti. Tell me about that story. We've got calls on that.
Oh, that.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, I was on Facebook, and a friend of mine from the 8th grade, very nice guy, nicest guy in the world. On Facebook, he wrote, I woke up this morning, and this is what I found on my front porch, and my mother's a Holocaust survivor. And there were swastikas and maple syrup, and it said Jew and dog crap, you know, on his front porch. And he was terrified because he's growing up hearing the stories of the Holocaust, which, of course, the president of Iran said never happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, yeah, his mother was 60 and decided to get a tattoo, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Like so many others did.
Yeah. So, well, you know, according to Mel Gibson's dad, they just walked away.
Yeah.
It's a long hike, but I guess they were all in the hiking back then. Anyway, he sees this, and so then we
have some video, but let's show the video, and then we'll take some phone calls. Can you guys show us the video so the viewers can see what we're talking about here? With his friend, is that going to be on the screen behind me here? Is that? No, here it is. That's what was. Is that right? That's what was out in front of your friend's house. All right, let's take some calls. I've got Annie in Ohio. You've got a comment about that?
Hi. I support Mr. Lovitz in what he did. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think the mother that was involved in this case did everything wrong.
I agree with that. Don't you?
Shame on her.
Yeah.
What is she teaching her children?
Yeah, it's sort of.
Mother drove them to this house to do this, and they said, well, it was a joke. I go, well, then, you know, why'd you do it at 1:30 in the morning? Yeah. You know, when they're asleep.
What a wonderful example of motherhood that is.
And
Andy, do you have a message for that mom? Give her a piece of your mind. How about that?
I do have a message for that mom. She needs to take some parenting classes. She needs to take a good look at why she helped these girls do that. What is it inside her that made her feel like she needed to help these girls commit such a heinous
It's a crime.
act?
Yeah, it's an act. It's an incident. You know, it has meaning, in particular for this family.
Well, the reason why it wasn't classified as a hate crime is because they said that
nobody was hurt.
Because they said there was no permanent damage.
Oh, I see.
Like they did it on their car too. They go, if you had left the maple syrup on the car for 2 hours, it would have damaged the paint, and then it would have been a hate crime.
Wow.
And then I found out the mother drove them, and then my friend he was terrified. It turned out these girls were bullying his 14-year-old daughter, and then.
What do you say to people who say that you...
By the way, I just tell you, I did not get these girls expelled from school.
Well, you went on the internet. Your Twitter...
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with them getting expelled at all.
What do you do?
They got expelled by their principal because they broke the school rules.
Okay, but what about what people say that you were being bullying of these little girls? What do you say to those folks?
Well, then I guess if standing up to abuse is bullying...
Then so be it.
That's just an abusive comment back.
Okay, let's go to Lori on Facebook who says, I say, way to go, Jon Lovitz, no room for racism. Didn't we have a call also, guys? Did you have a call for me set up? Fatima, there you are. Fatima in California, go right ahead.
Hi, it was just regarding Mr. Lovitz's little rant earlier on the president.
About taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and what I was saying, it's not like our president is a nut, like some of those in other countries, but I still feel that regardless of your political background or views, that there still should be some sort of respect for our president, and he shouldn't be disrespected as such.
I don't think you're disrespecting him. Or maybe the words you use people take issue with. Is that?
Well, I was on stage in my comedy club. If you've ever been to a comedy show, you know people say anything, and I was laughing. So yeah, I cussed at him, you know. So if I didn't cuss at him, but I used colorful words. Because that's how I felt. By the way, I should point out, I didn't invent cussing.
You didn't?
Oh, no.
I thought for sure that was
No,
you.
I think even, no. So by the way, I respect him, but I don't respect him for lying.
But John, Michael Richards said horrible stuff at a comedy club, and that, didn't go so well.
That's right.
Yeah, I
know all about that. Yeah, but he lost his temper. There was no humor at all forever what he said.
Okay.
And if you look at it, there's a video out now of it.
Yeah.
And you can see, certain articles say, oh, Kevin Smith was uncomfortable, the audience was laughing nervously. And if you watch it, Kevin Smith is laughing his head off, the audience is laughing. Okay. I was saying it in a humorous way.
Okay. Sandy from Alabama. Go right ahead, Sandy.
And I'm a
how are
I'm
you?
a comic.
I got that part. You're not a world political figure? Well, you
no,
are now. You
no, but the internet, these people make this stuff go viral. I don't.
I know. I'm sorry, Sandy. Go right ahead. Alabama.
It's all right. Hi. First of all, I want to give my support, Mr. Lovitz, to you for everything that you've been through and everything that you've done. I agree with you 100% that this was definitely a hate crime. Once again, like Annie said, shame on the mother. Anything that incites any kind of deep sense of torture, especially something that a culture has gone through, in my opinion, is a definite hate crime.
Yeah, I thank you, Sandy. And I can imagine if this had happened 20 years ago, it might have caused, I remember growing up when there were still a lot of Holocaust survivors around, and having friends whose parents were Holocaust survivor. And even the thought of this kind of thing was so deeply, they could almost not talk about it back in those days, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Oh, I remember I had a babysitter once. I was 11, and she was in Germany. I said, well, what happened? And she started crying. Yeah. She goes, I can't tell you. I go, what? I didn't know.
And remember,
of course, I'm glad she didn't. She couldn't tell me. It was too horrifying. It was, mass murder. But, what happened, my friend was so terrified, and to do anything, he was worried about his daughter. And I said to him, you've got to do something. You've got to nip it in the bud. This is how this starts. And this is exactly how it started in Germany. And if you read, there's a book by Elie Wiesel, who was a Holocaust survivor, wrote a book called Night. And he talks about he lived in this village during, World War II, and they had a village idiot. And this guy was, considered the village idiot. He's a moron. He disappears for 4 days. He comes back. He's screaming, they're killing all the Jews. They're putting him on trains, and they're killing all the Jews. And nobody believed him because he was the village idiot. And I felt this is exactly how this anti-Semitism starts. And if you let this go, it sends a signal that it's okay, and then it becomes more and more. And this is how it starts. So I felt, you know what, you got to nip it in the bud, and Jews don't put up with this stuff anymore. It's unacceptable, and you got to fight back from the beginning.
And I've been talking a lot on this show about the Trayvon.
It should be unacceptable to anybody.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The Trayvon Martin incident, I think.
Well, that's what I just said. Now you're just repeating it.
I am just repeating it. I am. And you're smarter and funnier than I am. But it doesn't sound.
Well, all right, but
if I insist,
I wouldn't. Yeah, well, I wouldn't normally go. No, you're crazy. But you're a doctor, so yes.
So
you got to consider the source. You're
that's
a doctor.
Right. So I know what I'm talking about. Is what you're saying.
Yes.
When I call you smarter and funnier, that's good.
Yes.
All right. Just got good judgment, is basically.
But how do we know you're a doctor? Well, where's your?
My license is upstairs.
Well,
I'll get
how
it
do we
for
know
you.
it's fake?